From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
I am Benjamin Roth.
And I'm Michael Turner. Today on Deep Dive, we are looking back at a night in 1968 when the hope of a nation was met with the cold steel of 200,000 soldiers.
It was the night of August 20th into the 21st, when the Soviet Union and its Warsaw Pact allies decided that the liberalizing reforms in Czechoslovakia had gone too far. They didn't just send a message, they sent 5,000 tanks.
That period of reform was famously called the Prague Spring, Benjamin. It was led by Alexander Dubcek, who wanted to create what he called socialism with a human face. He was pushing for freedom of speech, the end of censorship, and even democratic elections. The public response to Dubcek was electric, Michael. People were joyous. But to the Kremlin, it looked like the imminent collapse of communism in the Eastern Bloc. Leonid Brezhnev warned Dubcek repeatedly, but Dubcek, buoyed by his own popularity, dismissed those threats until the tanks were literally on his doorstep. What strikes me is the nature of the resistance. It wasn't a conventional war. Citizens in Prague were tearing down street signs to confuse the invading troops. They were standing in front of tanks. At Radio Prague, journalists actually refused to give up the station, even as 20 people were killed during the takeover. That commitment to the truth is powerful. Even after the leaders were detained and taken to Moscow, underground stations kept broadcasting for days. But ultimately, the sheer scale of the force, the largest in Europe since World War II, was overwhelming. Dubcek was forced to repeal his reforms, and a period of normalization began under his successor, Gustav Husak. It took another 20 years for that dream to resurface during the Velvet Revolution in 1989. It is a sobering reminder of how hard-won these freedoms are, and how quickly they can be suppressed by those who fear them. While we're reflecting on the weight of history, let's look at some individuals who were born on this day, starting with a man who held the highest office in the United States. Benjamin Harrison was born on August 20th, 1833. Harrison is an interesting figure, Benjamin. He was the 23rd president, but he also had deep roots in the military as a Union Army general. Politics was essentially the family business for him. His grandfather was William Henry Harrison, the 9th president. From the halls of the White House, we move to the darker corners of the human imagination. Today is also the birthday of H.P. Lovecraft, born in 1890. He is arguably one of the most influential horror writers in history, even if he didn't see much success during his own lifetime.
His creation of the Cthulhu mythos changed everything for the genre, didn't it? That sense of cosmic dread, the idea that humans are insignificant in the face of ancient, uncaring gods. You can see his fingerprints on everything from modern cinema to literature today.
Absolutely. It's a very different kind of influence than our third birthday, Connie Chung, born in 1946. She was a true trailblazer in the world of journalism.
She really was, Michael. In 1993, she became the second woman ever to co-anchor a major United States network's weekday evening newscast. She broke barriers for women and Asian Americans in a field that was, for a long time, very resistant to that kind of change. It's a day for pioneers, it seems, whether in governance, the arts, or the newsroom. And that spirit of pioneering extends beyond our own atmosphere. That brings us to our fact of the day. On August 20th, 1975, NASA launched Viking 1 from Cape Canaveral. It was a mission that would change our understanding of the red planet forever. The goal was ambitious, to land on Mars and search for evidence of life. Before Viking, the Soviet Union's Mars 3 had technically landed in 1971, but it failed just seconds after touchdown. Viking 1 was different. It wasn't just a technical success. It was a scientific triumph. The lander touched down in July of 1976 and began sending back the first clear close-up images of the Martian surface. It was the first time we could really see what it looked like there. And while it didn't find definitive proof of life, the data it gathered on the soil and atmosphere paved the way for every Mars mission we've launched since. It's incredible to think that while the people of Prague were still living under the shadow of the 1968 invasion, humanity was successfully reaching out to touch another world. It shows our capacity for both destruction and discovery. That contrast is what makes history so compelling, Benjamin. On one hand, you have the suppression of a democratic movement on Earth, and on the other, the expansion of our reach into the solar system. From the struggle for freedom in Czechoslovakia to the birthdays of leaders and dreamers and the launch of a craft toward Mars, August 20th reminds us of the complexity of our story.
Thank you for joining us for this look back. I'm Michael Turner.
And I am Benjamin Roth. You can find more stories at deepdive.neuralnewscast.com. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.